Now let's go to the negative. All right. So when you make moves, Emmanuel Rivera, it kind of is expected, right? He was a journeyman, so to speak, filling a role. And you know what? Shout out to him. And I understand that completely. It's the business, but he did do his part, man. So I hope that people realize he did his part, limited with the upside of what he would bring, but he did his part. And then there's Heston Kjerstad, though. I think that's the one where names and people are going to circle is what is going to happen with Heston Kjerstad now? Because you thought he'd get more of a run, and you know he got off to that rough start. You know, a lot of people put their magnifying glasses on Zach and go, man, this guy just can't play defense. Oh, he can't hit. And I think that had a little bit of a snowball effect on his performance. And I still think it's not because the dude can't hit in the big leagues. I really don't believe that. I think that his confidence was shot. I think that he was pressing. And then ultimately get to this point where the O's have to make a decision. And the decision was you got to send him down. Now, I don't know what that's going to mean, Zach, for long term. You know, an injury happens, he comes back up, but at least for the foreseeable future here for the next month, it looks like Heston's going to be down in AAA trying to stay fresh and hopefully be ready for his next chance.
Yeah, and I don't think it's unfair to call this stint for Heston Kjerstad a disappointment. You know, it was genuinely one of those times where it was unfortunate with Colton Cowser getting hurt, where now all of a sudden you're starting, you know, outfielder because they move him around, is down, and you have to bring up somebody to hopefully take that role and take those at bats. And so you felt like it was finally that opportunity for Heston to get every day at bats, to go out there and prove his worth. And there were times where he looked great, and obviously there were some low times, and they end up not moving on, but, you know, giving him more development time in AAA. But it was a disappointment because you felt like you were hoping Heston would finally take that step. Now, I don't know how many times the guy has gotten hit, or, you know, it felt like every time Heston started to get a groove, they either hit him in the elbow, he was involved in something. I mean, the guy just felt unlucky. But it was one of those situations where when he came up and you knew Cowser was going to be out for 2 months, when you knew that, okay, you had a role that you had to fill, and then O'Neill goes down, now there's an even bigger hole. Now it's Heston's playing every single day, and you were really hoping that you would see him kind of take that step and kind of run with it. That's not what happened, and it's disappointing. I'm not going to give up on him. I don't think this is something where, you know, oh, he can't play. Hell, we saw Kyle Stowers, the exact same situation, just kind of up and down, finally finds a situation where he's comfortable in, and we see him thriving there. I don't think this is a talent thing for Heston. I think, unfortunately, it just is mentally right now, whether it's, you know, getting too down on himself, no matter what it is. I think it does kind of maybe he does just need a reset. You know, go down, hopefully start raking again in AAA, get your confidence back, and then see what happens.
Yep. Businessman. I mean, look, sports, they're business. If you're not helping the team win to a capacity or to a certain standard, they're going to look to replace you. And for Heston, whether it was the full runway that he wanted or the team was going to give him, he did have opportunities and didn't cash in the way that he wanted to. And when you're looking at it, right, you're not benching Seti or Cowser. You're not sending down. I mean, I'm going through. Carlson's been swinging the bat well. Roman Laureano, Lord knows you're not sending him down, right? And that's just where the nature of the business comes. And you know, I did see the comment here. Did Mabry tell Heston to work on something in AAA potentially? You know, I thought Heston was coming on that road trip. I did. I thought I saw good at bats. I know I saw some people getting pissed off at his at bat against Mason Miller, which, by the way, hey, welcome to the game, Heston. You got to go and face Mason Miller, who throws absolute fuzzballs and has an absolute hammer of a slider. I mean, that was like, good luck with that, first off. I don't think there's anything for him to work on. I think it's just more of a confidence thing. And I saw another comment about he could hit before the Yankees. That's why I looked at that. If he didn't get drilled last year in the head, we might be looking at Heston as almost an everyday guy. Because I think he would have. I think he would have hit the hell out of the ball, and he would have kept it going, and then he would have had the confidence going into 2025 that he was a big league guy. And I know that he believes he's a big league player. That's not what I'm saying, right? I hope you guys can understand that. But it's the same thing when you get up there because you know you deserve it, but now you want to prove that you belong there long term. And that's where some of the young guys have the hard time adjusting. That's the part of it. Are you going to be a prospect? You going to be a guy? Kyle Stowers talked about trying to fit in. And we talked about that already with Stowie. And it took him some time, and he also didn't get the right opportunities. But for the moment being, Heston's going down. They're going to have to figure out what that long-term plan could be. I'm still not giving up on the dude. And one last thing when I want to really get this point home, Zach, is someone's talking about like maybe, I don't know. Let's see. You say about you being a great softball player on Sundays. We'll make it. And say that that's the word that gets around, Zach. You are the best softball player on Sundays, especially after a long night out in Fed Hill. You're banged up, but it doesn't matter. Death, taxes, Bolly's having 3 to 4 hits. So people expect it. And then you go into it, and what if you don't get those hits? And they're going, dang, this guy, maybe he's not as good as we thought, or whatever it may be, right? And the reason why I'm trying to make it light of this is in every day in our lives, we are getting compared to something. And if someone has a perception of how good you're supposed to be, they're expecting to see that same guy at the next level. So the two instances, Kobe Mayo is one, because everyone said Kobe Mayo can hit. So everyone expects Kobe to come up and hit 30 to 40 jacks. So then he's trying to live up to that hype. And then there's Heston, where everyone says he can hit everything. He's that next best pure hitter. He's got so much power. And then the power hasn't been there as much. And then the results haven't. And then as a player, what has happened with everybody, you get tight. And then you start hearing what other people are saying. And then your play gets tense. So I don't think it's a coincidence, Zach, when everyone's ripping on Heston not making a play in the outfield. You're telling me he's going to be able to wipe that from his mind and then go to the batter's box and take away that, worry or stress or embarrassment. And then he doesn't do well at the plate, and then he goes out into the outfield and he carries it over. Now, no one's feeling sorry for that situation, right? You have to be able to figure it out. That's the business. No one cares about your feelings, Zach. I don't care if you went 0 for 4 in softball and got jammed 4 times. I do care for you. But you get my point. It's a business. So for Heston, my biggest thing is, how can you mentally erase all the other crap? Because if he can do that, Zach, I believe he can be a really good big leaguer. But for right now, I think that that's definitely something that's been hindering him from taking that next step.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It's about, I think, the expectation coming up of he was supposed to be in hell. I mean, we saw it with Jackson last year. People gave up on him after 16 at-bats. After begging for him to be brought up, saying he was going to save the season, everything. He didn't immediately save the team. And then people were like, trade him. Get rid of him. And it is, I think, a mental thing. It's if you're not getting as confident in yourself, baseball's hard enough when you do believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, it becomes damn near impossible. And it does suck because I talked about it right after the game, I thought, awful at bat by Heston against Mason Miller, but I gave him the thing of like, who would have coming off the bench? Like, I just think that was a shitty situation that he unfortunately coming off, he's obviously had gotten some bigger hits earlier in the series. He had kind of gotten something going against the Mariners. I get that. Felt like that's kind of one of those, okay, if we're trying to get our guy confidence back, maybe not a massive turning point in the game against probably went on the game's best closer. So, especially when you're looking fastball and he drops 3 sliders off the table for you, it's not the easiest.
And when you don't see the ball very well or you're not confident, you're going to have an at-bat like that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you because guilty. I've had a lot of at-bats where I didn't have the confidence and I didn't see that damn thing come out of the hand well, and then you're going back to the dugout going, what the hell just happened? But once again, baseball doesn't care about your feelings, but that is a reality that we try to do and try to talk about of what players are going to have to figure out. So for the time being, hopefully Heston can get back on track, and these birds that are back from the IL can make an impact because, Zach, they're going to need it. And you know what we need? We need you guys to hit that like and subscribe button here. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right here on YouTube, X, and potentially Facebook now.